I'm Deborah Atkinson, and this is Flipping 50, the place to reset, tune up, and prepare for your second and better half with the vitality and the energy that you want. In every episode, I answer questions from women just like you about what they're struggling with the most, and I give them the what to eat, the how to move, and solve your biggest time challenges so you can focus on the one or two key things that'll get you the most results in the least amount of time. Send me your question to flipping50tv.com. And if I use your question for one of our shows, I'm going to send you exclusive access to some gifts and goodies I'll tell you a little bit more about later. Even if I don't choose your question for the show, you get my Muscles in Minutes guide for toning those hard to tone areas. Today's question is from Maria, who writes, "My biggest challenge is reducing belly fat and adjusting my exercise to fit my stress level. The more I read, the more I realize I'm over-exercising and I need to find balance." Maria, thanks for writing. And I totally understand. As someone who loves to exercise, I constantly have to remind myself to step back and make sure that my exercise matches my stress level. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna deal with Bliss Charge and actually talk about how your stress level, which is too high, and your sleep, which is too low, are causing you to write checks for money you don't have in the bank. And we're gonna fix that right now. Maria, everything you're doing right now, we're gonna change so it falls under Bliss Charge. It's all about reducing your stress level so that you can release the extra weight, particularly the extra fat, which we're gonna talk about in a minute. You're doing weight training, you're doing high intensity intervals. What I want you to do is to take a break and to take a really light week and not do any of that. And then we're gonna come back in and we're gonna do twice a week of high intensity intervals, twice a week of weight training, and then with the rest of your time, loving exercise. I know you're gonna wanna feel that time. I'm gonna give you some yoga and I'm gonna give you some core exercise to put in that time so you feel like you're still exercising without overdoing it. When we move on to Minute Maid meals, you told me you're having that high protein, high powered smoothie after exercise. Fantastic. And make sure at home, if you're not doing the same, that you get started. But what you want to do is make sure your lunch and your dinner are equally well planned. And Maria, that's where you're falling apart. So I'm going to give you some super simple ways to plan your lunch, plan your dinner, so you're getting everything that you need to decrease your stress and increase the likelihood you can drop that weight. Before Muscles in Minutes, let's ask Deborah. It's time for the Ask Deborah show, and today we're interviewing Deborah. Welcome back, Deborah. That is so your color. This whole thing, actually, I got it yesterday. Thanks. And you're looking pretty fit, by the way. Well, thank you. And yet I've been noticing lately some beige, which brings me to our question for today. I've been hearing it's not about the weight, it's about the fat. And what exactly does that mean? Think of it this way. If you've ever dieted, you've gone on a diet, you've lost weight, and you just paid attention to the scale, the chance is that you lost a large percent of muscle. And if you went off the diet, resumed your regular eating, and gained weight again, you gained 100% of fat. That whole cycle means over time, you're losing muscle, gaining fat. So in order to test it, we use some old-fashioned kinds of tools that can actually tell you how much weight is muscle, how much weight is fat, so that you can monitor what's really happening under the hood. Oh, could I see that? I've seen these, like in the doctor's office, or this brings a whole new meaning to pinch an inch. So this is just one method. So we could use something like this, but now you can buy a bathroom scale that'll tell you your body composition. You can walk into a gym or a fitness center and ask for body composition, and it's much more comfortable than it used to be. Well, that's a relief. So if I'm losing weight, but I'm also losing muscle, my fat will go up. I want to be sure I'm losing fat and keeping the muscle. Makes total sense. Thank you so much, Deborah. And that's it for the Ask Deborah Show. Welcome to Muscles in Minutes and this first series, which is all about yoga, decreasing your stress level, but still allowing you to exercise and even use some strength. We're gonna do this on a mat or not, and barefoot or not, especially if you've got some foot issues like plantar fasciitis, you're more than welcome to keep your shoes on. Step with me now, feet together. Drive your heels into the floor and crown of your head to the ceiling. Just stand nice and tall, but let your shoulders hang loosely away from your head and your ears. Take a deep breath in, raise the arms, and then you're gonna exhale, and I want you to hinge at your hips so it's a nice flat back until you need to round down. Then you're gonna inhale, look forward, but really you're looking down, so it's the crown of your head looking forward. Exhale, come back down, and at the same time, step back. So here you're in a long plank position, and just hold here. We're gonna gain a little strength. I want you to push back through your heels, lengthen through the tops of your thighs, and then inhale at the top. You're gonna exhale and lower yourself slowly to the floor. Inhale and slide forward. So the feet are flat, lift up, chest forward. And on the exhale, use your belly strength, curl your toes under, and come into a down dog. So if you're a little bit tight, a little bit stiff, you can let your heels come up off the floor. Soften your knees a little bit. And in fact, you can walk the dog right here. And then when you're ready on the end of an exhale, you're gonna step forward, right between your feet, head comes down, and then strong belly, lift all the way up. And we're gonna repeat that with the breath. We're gonna exhale down. Inhale to look forward. Exhale down and step back. Inhale at the top. Exhale to lower. Inhale, come forward. And then exhale into your down dog. Take a little breath here. In fact, catch your breath. Send your heels down into the floor. Open up your whole hand. And on an exhale, step forward. Head down. Come all the way up. And I want you to try this one with me, with the breath, all by yourself. Exhale down. Inhale, look forward. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then hold right here. Now we're gonna do another pose. I want you to step forward with one foot. So I have my left foot forward. What I'm gonna have you do is a prayer balancing pose. We're gonna loosen up those hips and open them up. Have you take one hand on the outside of that leg, and your elbow is gonna use that knee as resistance for rotation. Weights on that front heel. Try to push back through your rear heel and sink your hips down. Take a breath or two here. When you're doing this by yourself, you can hold this just a little bit longer. It's a great one to open up the hip. You may feel a good stretch right here. That actually is going to help loosen up your lower back and remove stress from it. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. Elbow on the outside of the knee, palms together, and then you can either look down or turn your head to the side. Push back through that back heel, drop down through the hip. So from here, we're gonna go right into a pigeon pose. I want you to drop your back knee, put that toe flat, and then walk this other foot over to the side. Support yourself with your hands. Bring that foot down, hip down. Crawl your hands forward. So your options are, stay right here. Try to bring your sternum further forward. Push your tailbone back behind, and you're gonna feel a good stretch through the hip over here that you're seated on. Your other option is to fold your hands and put your head down, or reach your hands further out in front, depending on your flexibility. Here's how that looks. And then when you're ready to come up, curl your back toes under, lift that back knee, come up, and bring that foot out of the way. And let's try that on the other side. We're gonna slide this one up. Drop to your hip. Bring that foot just a little further forward. Try to keep your knee over here facing down. And then you decide on this side. Your lower back may need to stay up, it may be able to come down, but if you decide to cross your arms, carefully just settle into it with a few deep breaths. When you're ready to come up, hands take the weight, back toes curl under, lift up, come up, and then you can drop your knees down and just sit back in a child's pose for a good stretch. And next up, we're gonna go right into core. What I'm gonna show you next is a series of 7 different exercises, a combination of core exercises and mobility exercises to loosen up your upper back in this case. So as you watch them, just pay attention to technique, and you can get the entire list at the Flipping 50 TV tab at foreverfitandfab.com. Let's start with a plank. So you're holding in a plank, push back through your heels, shoulders away from your ears, nice and easy. And this one you can hold from anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. And you can go right on, or take a break, into a side plank. I'm showing it with a little bit more balance involved, but if you need a little bit more stability, scissor your legs. The flip side looks like this. Arm up, arm down, totally up to you. We're gonna come right back to back extension. And then you're back up to a plank with a little rotation. It's hip to hip. I like to call this one a Tootsie Roll. Next, you're going to come down to the mat. Arms up. Sitting up, nice and tall, make sure you're on those sit bones. You can take your arms wide to the side, and then you rotate. Reach out toward the opposite foot, and return. Work on hinging right from your hips. And last but not least is the clam. On your side. Knees bent, hips bent at 90 degrees. Take your arms out in front And you're gonna move just from the upper back. So we're gonna lift, and then exhale, try and rotate open. Leave your knees and your hips in place. Inhale up, exhale. And from the other side. And that's your core set. Welcome to Meals in Minutes. If you, like Maria, start to fall apart as the day goes on, this is all about how to plan for success at lunch and or at dinner. And let's think about stress. So that's a big part of Maria's problem and maybe yours too. The brighter colored vegetables you put in your diet, and the more frequently you do it, the more you're going to help yourself reduce your stress levels. Not from finances or work, but it all counts. And remember, your body handles all stress in exactly the same way. So I'm gonna show you my brand new friend, my NutriBullet, and I'm gonna make some soup in here in about 7 minutes. And it's gonna go like this. So I've already pre-made some butternut squash with some carrots, and that goes right into the NutriBullet. Ready to go. Now I've got some chicken broth. You could use veggie broth if you prefer it. I'm gonna use a little bit of coconut milk just to thicken things up, and I'm using full fat coconut milk. So you have to remember those medium chained fats are actually great for reducing stress and inflammation, and you cannot store them as fat. Bonus! Now I've got my spices all ready to go. A little sage, a little cinnamon, and a little nutmeg. And I'll give you the exact recipe at the Flipping 50 TV tab. Now, the lid goes on tightly. Seven minutes. So we're now minutes from cold ingredients to hot soup that'll help de-stress. So with this butternut soup, I can combine this with any lean protein or fatty fish and a little bit of green salad, and I'm done. Some days, if you want a really light, easy to go, easy on the go, dinner or lunch, I'll stir in a scoop of protein powder right in here, maybe with a little extra chicken broth so it's runnier. And then you're done. And that's your Meals in Minutes. The key flip of the day is your body handles all stress in exactly the same way. So to plan your exercise, you have to factor in everything that's going on in your life. Maria, thanks so much for your question, and let us know how it goes. And now I'd love to hear from you. What's your biggest challenge? Is it stress, or is it confusion about exercise, or something else? Send me your question to flipping50tv.com, and if I choose your question for the show, I'm going to send you exclusive access to the After 50 Fitness Formula for Women online course, plus a copy of You Still Got It, Girl, my book, and my friends at Anne Marie Skincare are going to send you a trio of their full-size products. If I don't choose your question for the show, you get immediate access to my Muscles in Minutes guide for toning those hard to tone areas. So head on over to flipping50tv.com and let's start flipping 50 together.